morning, folks. How's my sound this morning? You hear me okay? Yeah? All right, right on. This is Coffee with Community Services. It is September 8th, 2023. My name is John Decker, the Director of Community Services at Alta California Regional Center. Coffee with Community Services is our weekly service provider meeting, and so thank you very much. So we've got 49 folks on so far, so we will do some introductions here and then jump into our agenda. And so from our Community Services Department, let's see, I see Tom on and Odelia and Jolana, and I see our Employment Specialist Carly. Good morning. Our Manager Helen is on, and our Specialists Beverly's on, and Christy's on. Morning, Christy Schaefer. Let's see, we've got some client services managers. I see Melissa Schusler is on and Carol Wilhelm, good morning. And our HCBS specialist Alicia is on this morning, good morning. And our lead community services specialist Jason is on, good morning, Jason. And I've got our housing specialist Rhonda is on, and our intensive transition specialist Christy Awasa is on, and we have, let's see here, for Community Services, Sharon Krupinski, woman of many titles at the Regional Center, but we'll call her deflection specialist, victim advocate, and so much more, placement coordinator, etc., etc. Dan Kilmer is on this morning as well from Community Services. Good morning, Dan. I see the David Lopez, my partner in crime on our executive management team and our very long-standing client advocate. Good morning, David, as well. And let's see, I see Elia and I see Leah and from Community Services, and I see my assistant Zach is on. Good morning, Zach. And let's see, I have our other managers. We've got both Michelle and Jordan that are on as well from our Community Services Department, and Jessica as well. Good morning, Jessica, Client Services Manager too. And oh my goodness, we have a new client services manager who I need to make sure I have her introduce herself as she walks away from her desk. So I love putting people on the spot at Coffee with Community Services. Now that we've done our introductions, Delana froze up on my computer at least. Uh-oh. All right, well, I see Delana on, and maybe we'll have her say hi in a little bit here if I can get her computer unfrozen. So getting into our agenda, Carly, I'm told you've got some announcements, so I'm going to start with you first. Jason, just get a little update on our coordinated family supports, kind of how many in process. Want to talk a little bit about the trailer bill, AB 138. Want to also talk a little bit about restraints. I want to talk about AB 1147 because there's new news with that as well. We have a service provider spotlight, and I thought I saw Michelle Ramirez on. Maybe I did. Maybe not yet, but we'll have CBIM do a spotlight, and we are, let's see, and since we have Rhonda on, hey Rhonda, I hope your voice is a little bit better today, but I'd like it if we could share our brochure that you made up. I think that would be pretty cool. We'll do that for our housing brochure. Want to give an update on our Harvard office and what's going on, and talk about there's a Northern Star job opportunity I want to share with folks, and we've got some information about our coordinated future planning and rate study implementation stuff, and if time permits, some more about HCBS. We don't really have an HCBS report, but I just want to talk about kind of hiring and things. So we will throw it to Carly first and take it away. Do you need to share your screen or anything, Carly? Or
yeah, if I
I think you should have the ability.
I do not. All right.
You should now.
Okay, is everyone seeing it?
I see it.
Okay, so I just want to put in a plug for our upcoming Day in Employment Vendor Fair on October 24th at the, I mean, at this point, hopefully at the Harvard office. This is just an opportunity. We have a lot of new service coordinators and several new vendors. So this is a great opportunity for you to come, set up a table, just share information about your program. With our service coordinators, meet the CSS staff, So if you are interested in attending this event and have not already contacted me, please do so. This is not one of our job fairs. This is just an internal event to share information about your program with our service coordinators. And again, that will be October 24th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. As of now at the Harvard office.
It has been, again, we have so many new service coordinators. So this is a really great opportunity for folks to be able to meet you, learn more about your programs. We have an unprecedented number of, clients that are moving on to adulthood now as well, and they need places to go to. So I think this will be a great opportunity.
We've had a lot of a good handful of new day and employment programs as well over the last year who we've gotten a lot of requests for assistance with getting the word out there about their programs. So really just a great opportunity to connect with the regional center. And then I'm going to stop sharing and switch over. Another very exciting event. And I don't know if we have anyone from Pride here, but feel free if we do to hop in. On October 18th, Pride Industries is hosting an event, and I Am Able Disability Job Fair. This is an event created for people with disabilities. Every company here is there hiring with the intent of hiring individuals with disabilities. If you there's a few listed here: Amazon, Raley's, UC Davis. If you click this link and go to their website, they have a much larger list of some of the employers that will be there. This event is on October 18th at the Officers Club in McClellan Park. Again, great opportunity if you have clients that are looking for a job. Every company that is here is coming with the intent of hiring our clients. Okay, and that is all I have.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Carly. Carly is always very busy when it comes to these things. We're still kind of getting our Sierra College employment fair kind of materialized, right?
Yes, that is still in the works. I don't know if you want to give a date yet.
I think we might have told them to save the date.
Yeah, I believe you're right, we did.
So maybe
I have to go back and look. I think it's November 7th or November 8th. I have to go back and look.
So just know that we're getting something set up there at Sierra College. We'll be sending it out broadly to all of you. Hopefully we can get as many people as possible that are looking forward to a free opportunity to have a booth. And again, we're trying to do what we did previously, which is really have this be vendor focused, not even just disability service focused, but focused really on the service providers of regional center clients that are vendored with regional centers, because we still hear loud and clearly from many service providers about the challenges they have in hiring staff. So thank you, Carly, for all that work as well. So we'll make sure that gets out to people too. Jason, coordinated family supports. And I know you gave an update a few weeks ago about our first vendor. Kind of how else are we doing with that right now?
Yeah, so not a whole lot of updates, but excuse me. On My Own is working on their final vendor docs, so that should be done soon. I'm reviewing Compass's second draft of the program design later today. I have the whole afternoon spread out for that. We have 2 new letters of interest. One of them is from Destined for Dignity. They provide SLS services as well as behavioral supports. And then I also just got one from Maxim. So we've got 2 new ones that we're working on.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I am going, anything else on the CFS side, Jason?
Nothing else. No other updates.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to jump out of the order of my agenda because I do that all the time anyways, because I thought I saw Garrett and I think I saw Royisha that is signed in as well. So Garrett, we had an opportunity, right? We had an opportunity to go out to Team Davis and have a meeting with clients and families that were out there. And this is, Team Davis has been around for quite some time, and they've actually got a Team Davis and Team Davis Juniors out there. and they held a parent education night and a panel, and they invited CLO, Creative Living Options, to come, and they also invited Peter Mendoza from State Council, who many of you may know is a very vocal housing advocate, and then they invited me as well to talk about the different things that we have going on. And I share that I really enjoy going out to meetings like that, and because I feel like I gain so much by sitting in a crowd of people, because there's such a variation between people's experiences as far as their experiences working with their service coordinators, the extent to which that they are aware of the different services that we even have available, and then also the extent to which they feel empowered to ask for those services in planning team meetings. And and Michelle Johnson sometimes comes out and does these types of things with me as well, and it is really helpful to have our case management folks there too. But my takeaway, Garrett, and I certainly shared it back at our office, is there's a whole lot more that we can do as it relates to educating families about the different services that are out there. And I think having a service provider right there being able to answer questions is probably one of the best ways to handle that. So I was wondering kind of what your thoughts, Garrett, or Roisha, your thoughts were, and participating in it. For me, I turned it into some kind of specific stuff for our coordinated future planning meeting, but just wanted to see, Garrett, kind of your thoughts in interacting with families as well.
Yeah, I agree. It was extremely positive and a great opportunity. I think for a bunch of reasons, of course, it was about housing, and I think folks were really interested in hearing all of the updates of what you've been doing, John, with your team at ACRC. But also, I was pleasantly surprised at how comfortable, sort of as you mentioned, people became to ask about things that were a little bit out of scope of the the title of the meeting, and for us to kind of be shoulder to shoulder with you and to hear both from us as service providers how we would approach certain things, and then also to hear what's going on at the regional center and what your perspective is. We too, Max put in the comments that he heard some positive feedback, and we heard some positive feedback as well. It was just really good to, as you mentioned, to see the community. There were a lot of people, because we provide a lot of services out in Yolo County. We knew a lot of people there, but there were lots of people that we hadn't met before, and so it was great to make those connections as well. So anytime there's another opportunity to do something like that with you, I'm on board. You need to ask. Just tell me the day. I'll be there.
Well, thank you very much. And again, I feel like having a team of people is just so much better of an approach, in these discussions, and not just having that one viewpoint of, per se, the regional center, but also because you guys are, again, as I always say, you're the ones that actually work with the clients. You guys day in and day out are the ones that are really trying to meet those needs, and we try to coordinate things the best we can back from the regional center. But I just appreciate the partnership and being able to do that. I hope that, again, the takeaway, and thank you, Max, for the comment there as well. I hope the takeaway from the families are, because anytime you have a meeting with me in it, and also especially with Peter Mendoza, we're going to talk about like future planning too, and we're going to talk about kind of our coordinated future planning initiative. And I know we talked about that a lot, with the families as well. But one thing, and I say it, to staff all the time, is, don't lose that opportunity to get things recorded in the IPP meeting. Like, don't let another year go by without having the discussion, without, documenting things. And please give our managers an opportunity to know if a service coordinator isn't really have the competence to be able to have those types of discussions with clients, because we know we have a lot of turnover and a lot of new staff, and we really do want to work to do this. So, again, I really appreciate Roisha and Garrett being there with it as well. My takeaway back, I think it was the following day, we had our coordinated future planning task force meeting. And in that meeting, we talked about how we are going to ensure that we really are implementing the coordinated future planning initiative at Regional Center, making sure that at every IPP meeting, there is that discussion of who is going to be the caregiver that is going to succeed the current caregiver if you have an aged caregiver, and also in that IPP meeting to talk about all the different types of services that are available, living options for individuals. And it's kind of a simple thing, but it really does not happen. And I know we pulled the room there in Davis and we got kind of 50-50. About half of the people said that, and one of them said my service coordinator was amazing about it, like absolutely amazing, and told a great story about it. And they had a younger child, and then another one said, it didn't come up at all, and they were an aging caregiver, and it hadn't come up. So for us, we felt like it really needs more consistency, and we got feedback in our coordinated future planning meeting that it is still a rarity to see in planning team meetings that discussion is going on. So we're refocusing our trainings as it relates to the coordinated future planning initiative. We're doing We're going to be doing trainings in the fall, winter time for our service coordinators. And then we talked about doing trainings next year and doing trainings for service providers specifically, and also doing trainings for families and clients, doing kind of because what we're realizing is with this coordinated future planning initiative, we are really focusing on our service coordinators and the responsibility to have that discussion during the planning team meetings. But I think we want to spread that around a little bit so that service providers feel very comfortable making sure that the discussion happens and that families are really well aware. I know Lori and I did our initial outreach 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, via a YouTube video talking to families about this, but there's been a lot that's changed since then and a lot of turnover in our staff. So just wanted to share that, again, these community meetings, especially ones that we can participate in with our, service provider partners, can lead to us really influencing what we are going to do at our regional center, which is how we're going to put that in action in kind of updating some of our coordinated future planning activities. So I will say for you as service providers, I do want to empower you that if you have a client that you're working with and you know that they are living with an aging caregiver and it's not coming up in that planning team meeting, I would really hope that you can please bring it up and discuss it, because we really do need these things documented in the IPPs. All right. Thank you. I want to talk about AB 138. I'll jump over to the chat real quick and see. Okay. Let's see. I have a message. Let's see. John. Okay. Sorry. It's a bunch of direct messages that got sent in to me. All right. Let me share my screen real quickly with AB 138, which is this year's trailer bill. I'm going to drop the trailer bill itself into the chat, and then I'm going to share my screen with a little summary here. And I'm going to go over kind of the big points of all of this. And I'm doing this from Daniel Savino's email from ARCA that I generously stole from him. And I will share my screen. Okay. Let's see here. Odelia, are you saying a Word document? Thumbs up? Right on. All right, I'm going to try to make it bigger. There we go. So AB 138, that's the link that I just put in there. That is the trailer bill, and it establishes a few different things. So it establishes the complex needs homes. One thing you're going to notice is there was lots of concerns about restraints. Some of you service providers should be well aware that if you do restraints, that you are now reporting those directly to the Department of Developmental Services instead of to Disability Rights California. And I just want to share that there's been very much a renewed interest, because now the reporting is actually happening, whereas before it wasn't. So there's been a huge spike in restraints, in essence, that are coming in through that type of reporting, as opposed to what was done previously. So all that to be said, they did set up the complex needs homes operated by DDS. It does limit restraints in those facilities. It clarified processes and limits of use of restraints in the STAR homes as well. Some of you are aware that there's expanded discretion for the director of the Department of Developmental Services to issue directives to regional centers. And there's specific language put in there that basically says, but yeah, that does not trump the IPP, though. The IPP is still the highest document as it relates to these things. It requires the development of a common set of data definitions related to race and ethnicity, and that regional centers record this info. Again, there's disparate terminology that's used by different regional centers, so it's planned to standardize all of that. Requires the development of standardized IPP forms, respite assessments, vendorization procedures, and intake processes. I think the dates that I have down for the IPP is that they have to land on what the new IPP format is going to be by the end of this fiscal year, and that by the end of the calendar year, we have to train our staff on what the new statewide IPP standardized IPP format will be. I think I said IPP twice there. But so that's going to be January 1, I believe, when the new IPP document that is going to be one type of standardized form. Additionally, vendorization procedures are going through a similar process right now. I think that they have a little bit longer of a period of time to implement the vendorization procedures. That's some of the reasons why, people are asking questions, especially about on the transportation side of things, about, things changing with us bringing in a broker that we have. But the state of California is in the process of standardizing all of the vendorization procedures. And with that means looking at the requirements for vendorization. And so our regional center is not going to be changing any type of standards for any service codes right now, as the state is in the process of standardizing them and giving us that information. So our commitment to you all is, as we learn about the standardization activities that are going to be going on by DDS, if there's opportunities for that feedback as it relates to vendorization for service providers, we will let you know so that you can give the feedback back to the Department of Developmental Services, because they are the ones that are going to be making the ultimate decision on what the final vendorization process is going to be. Some of the areas that people are concerned about is, different service codes require different types of licenses, different types of insurance coverages, and there's really not a consistency along the state of California as far as from regional center to regional center, some of those requirements, which for those of you that serve multiple regional centers is kind of challenging sometimes, because you have multiple different ways that it takes to get vendored amongst regional centers. So that was finalized as well. The new case management system is going to be tracking intake timelines and other data as well. There's a definition of generic service that's going to be created, and DDS will consider ways to improve access and coordination related to such services. I'm going to stop my little cursor there because I saw a hand went up. Hey, Eric, go ahead. Yeah.
Just on the vendorization process piece, are you clear about exactly what that means for program designs? Because program designs really don't, the vendorization process is, that program designs are part of that, but that's a whole different thing that's regional center. So are they talking about common program design requirement, like writing, or are they talking about besides the program design?
Well, I will say there has been no discussion whatsoever of modifying any existing vendorizations to do standardization. However, it does not make sense for me to have one program design template and Valley Mountain Regional Center to have another one for the same service code, does it? I mean, not really, right? And so I think I will just tell you that some of the recommendations that we have made, because I'm part of the group that's working kind of on the ARCA side of things to give recommendations to DDS about this, these are things that are certainly we're looking at. The program design, if there was a way that we could easily standardize it, and also ways where it makes it easier for us to pull information out of the program designs, because right now there's just a big chunk of narrative information, but we'll see what DDS has. But the point in all that being is that we don't want to do anything extra right now at this point while that is getting figured out, because it is not very explicit exactly what that is going to impact. Is it going to be as simple as here's a standardized vendorization packet like we did for it was the social recreation ones that they came out with, or the SDP ones. Here's the standard vendorization packet. This is just what's needed. So we don't know yet. I don't believe. I think it'll be similar on the the intake side of things. I don't know. I see Camelia is on, our director of intake and clinical services. Have you gotten have you been able to get any more information about the extent to which they're going to be like looking at intake procedures?
We've just had conversations. We don't have timelines. Like I recognize the IPP is January 1, I believe. But there's just been conversations and gathering of information with us, DDS, and ARCA, gathering the info, looking to streamline and make it all similar coming down. So it's a filtering process right now and discussions about that.
So the new trailer bill does drop a date.
Oh, okay.
And that is, and so that one is later. So that is January 1 of 2025. They have to have the
gotcha.
standardized intake process. It needs to be implemented at regional centers. They establish it, I think it looks like by June 30th of 2025. Because then they also have to have the current data systems that we need to use to input the information that they're requiring, which is number of individuals who intake was requested, outcome of that intake, whether it was an assessment was determined to be necessary, length of time that it took, and the number of notices of action that were sent. That sounds like fun. Fun reporting.
Always.
So if you look at the link that I put, so the detail of it is not included obviously in this summary right here, but if you go into the detail of what I've written, if you want to do a word search, and I can just share my other screen real quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. Might as well be a little bit more illustrative here. All right, so if you you can do a word search over here, and you can see I just searched intake, and then that brought me to this section right here that goes over the timeframes for intake. And I think the vendorization one is near here too. Vendorization is okay. So vendorization is June 30th. They have to have the vendorization procedures. That includes forms and requirements to streamline vendorization elements, including when services are provided through more than one regional center. Regional centers shall implement these standardized vendorization procedures and provide updated vendor lists to the department on a quarterly basis, no later than January 1 of 2026. So that's our timeframes for this one is June 30th is when they are going to finish the process. So they've got a little bit more time. I think this coincides, well with the department's desire to get their statewide vendor database up off the ground. And as a reminder to those of you, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, the state of California, in trying to solve one of the many issues related to the service provider incentives that are tied to the full implementation of the rate study, have looked to the development of a statewide vendor database. And that statewide vendor database, one of the activities that service providers DDS is expecting to say will need to do in order to get their incentive payment will be to log in and verify the information that you have within the statewide vendor database. And for example, if you are a Pride Industries, or if you are, several of you guys on my own, UCP, you've got multiple vendorizations. And so I think also there's going to be some activities about linking those vendorizations within the system and making sure all the contact information is correct. I believe they're setting that threshold pretty low as far as the required activities for service providers. My understanding is that this statewide vendorization process will also be related to the development of that statewide vendor database too. So more to come about that, but just wanted to share that now we have the trailer, but we knew that these things were going to be standardized. We just hadn't heard about the dates until the trailer bill stuff came out. So and DDS will have to let's see, a definition of generic services is to be created. They shall consider ways to approve access and coordination related to such services. Let me see, I'm going to share my screen so I'm not reading something that you guys can't see at the same time. All right. After the 15-day intake period, starting on January 1st of 2025, a center will either have to find the individual eligible or begin the 120-day assessment process. And I don't know if I lost Camelia or she's on my other screen. Camelia, what are the implications?
I'm still here.
Of that? Yeah, so after the 15-day intake period, starting January 1 of 2025, regional centers will either have to find the individual eligible or begin the 120-day max assessment process.
You're saying what's the implication there?
Yeah, so what is
Well,
what's
I
different?
I can tell you that there's a struggle with the 15-day period, and people go through multiple intakes because we have to establish that there's a belief of having a developmental disability. So someone can call in saying, you know, I think I have autism. Well, why? And we ask for documentation, and so we may or may not receive that documentation. So if we don't have anything to validate kind of the suspicion, then we're not moving forward. So then that can happen within a 15-day, or someone gives us something a month or two later. That's beyond 15 days. So there's discussion about that 15-day period and that clock of when it's starting and stopping. And ultimately, there's more than one 15-day period for some people based on us having information or not. So we'll have to get some more clarification if they're wanting us to do something different with that piece of it, because we don't move forward until we have something that says we have a suspicion that there's a developmental disability at hand.
Yeah, I think, you know, the timelines are tough when it's not expressly written, and I think we shall see. Again, I do appreciate that they're giving it appears plenty of time to get, you know, regional centers aligned with what the new language is, putting a January 1st 2025 date on it. The other thing on here was, and then Jordan has to let me know if I'm saying this right, which is that the 6,500 commitments that go into complex needs homes, previously they were 1-year commitments, I believe, and now the new rule is that they are going to be 6 months commitments.
Yeah, there's always been language within the code that allows for those 6-month reviews. So they've always had 6-month reviews, but the commitments now we will look at 6 months instead of the year.
All right, and let's see here. The other thing I noticed, and this is new, it didn't make it into ARCA's summary, but I noticed it right at the beginning of the language, was that the bill would also require the determination that admittance to an acute crisis home is necessary, and that first you must include the consideration of a supported living arrangement. So that's new. That's never been written down before, that prior to, I don't believe that it's explicitly said that you have to consider a supported living arrangement among other options. And so, and then they talk about, you know, they do not want people using any prone restraints and seclusion as well. So, but just interesting, again, as we are looking to find, you know, the best community options available to serve individuals that have a lot of support needs from time to time. So, the information that I have about, let's see, sorry here, look at my chat here. All right, for AB 1147. So I received a notice that AB 1147 has been put on pause until January of 2024. So I certainly don't have any other details as it relates to that. I don't know what will go on in the interim between now and January of 2024, but and if anyone has additional information on that, they're welcome to unmute themselves or to put something in the chat about it. But I just wanted to provide an update because I know folks have been following that one, and as of right now, that one is going to be put in suspense until January of 2024. My understanding is that it will be brought up with the same language that is in it right now at that time, but who knows what will go on between now and then. So unless anyone has anything from that, I would like to move on to doing a, let's see, we're going to do a CBIM spotlight. Do we have CBIM here to do a spotlight?
Let me scan through here, John.
I did see that Michelle Ramirez was on, but it might have been the other Michelle Ramirez. So let me double check.
All right, we're going to give them their 2-minute warning here while we try to find them. But let's see. In the meantime, I will jump over to Rhonda and see if Rhonda can share her screen. I'm going to make you a co-host, Rhonda, with our new idea we have.
Okay, give me 1 second. There it goes. All right, can you see that?
I can see it perfectly. What do we have here?
All right, so what we have is a multifamily housing brochure that we put together so that we can try to start getting the regional center out there a little more in terms of housing developers and agencies that work with housing developers so that they can see what we can do to help them and in return help our clients. So we just kind of talk about our mission, vision, and values, and we talk about what we're trying to do with housing development. And this really kind of ties into, everything that's been a huge push with the coordinated future planning, because it's not just caregiver succession planning, but where is this individual going to live? Where do they want to live? And so we ideally want to have somewhere for them to go. So we want to be sure that we can continue to grow housing that's affordable and accessible and in neighborhoods where our clients want to live. So we kind of highlighted Mirasol Village, and we have highlighted Cornerstone, and then we've put some information and a QR code in there. And so really what this is a brochure, and so when it's printed, two-sided, of course, then we have this nice handy little brochure with the QR code. We all know people don't like to carry around paper, so hopefully they will quickly scan the QR code, put that contact information into their phones, and then be reaching out to us.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rhonda. This information is also going on to a post on our website as well, so that Rhonda can just refer people over to that. It's not uncommon when we are doing these types of projects where we have to provide information about us. We already have a brochure for our regional center. We have the adult services guide that really describes what Alta does, in the work with our clients. But again, we got into the Mirasol Village project because I was out at a housing conference, and Sacramento Housing Redevelopment Agency walked up to me and said, "Hey, we heard about that gap funding. Would you want to partner on a project in Sacramento?" And I know, we were in contact with Volunteers of America. We've got a meeting coming up, I think, with them as well to look at a project that they've got going to. So. There's a lot of activity with this, but I think this will make it a lot easier, right, Rhonda, in our communications?
That's cool.
Yes. And the one that we're developing for the website, I know Thalia's working on it. We updated some language and how we kind of represented some things, and I resent that to her this morning. So coming soon, that should be on our website. But the one on the website will also have the links to, like you said, the adult services. It'll give them the link to the flyer for gap funding. It gives them the link to the Supernova calendar and that process. So it has a lot more interactive. It has a link to Mirasol Village. It also will have a link to Cornerstone. It also has the link to our mission, vision, and values. So obviously in a brochure, you can't really have links, but the one on the website will. And then it also has some of the agencies that we partner with that are also, pro housing and, trying to get our names out there and trying to ensure that there's affordable, accessible housing for our clients.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rhonda. Any questions for Rhonda? No? Yeah, it's really cool because we're finally able to start doing some of these things that we've been wanting to do, but just didn't have the staff to be able to do. Some of you are aware that, because finding housing or housing our clients is not included in the entitlement. There's not extra funding that comes to the regional center to do some of these different things. And luckily we are piloting DDS's assistive technology pilot, which also requires a lot of Rhonda's time. And we're able to do some of these other activities as well. one of the things that we do regularly is we meet with the Disability Housing Alliance, and the Disability Housing Alliance is a monthly meeting that we have with primarily parents and some clients and community partners. We have the Placer Independent Living Center is involved with it, and State Council attends the meetings every month, and it's really nice. It's an opportunity for us to talk about all the different housing issues that are going on, in our 10 counties that we have. So I just want to share my screen real quickly because they did come out with their website, and I thought it looked really nice. But this is their website, Disability Housing Alliance. And the idea is, there's like 10 counties, there's all these different municipalities, there's all these different, cities, counties that have housing plans, and there's just so much to do. It's really a lot easier if we have help. And so once a month, Rhonda and I meet with these folks, and they let us know what's going on in their counties. And so, for example, we had heard about, some of the affordable housing going on over by the Sunrise Mall. And so one of the questions was, do we know the developer that's working on that? And so, we can reach out, see if the developer's there, do they need a little bit of money to finish that project off? Maybe we can try to do some set aside housing for people with developmental disabilities. This core group of folks is also the group called Future for Our Kids, which some might be familiar with from Placer County. And one thing that is very powerful that they do is when they go out and they speak to a government agency, they talk to Board of Supervisors or city council people, they always make sure that they either have their kids with them or pictures of their kids when they are doing that. And so they've got their pictures right on the front page of their website as well. So again, I say that because, housing is a very important thing for us here at our regional center. There's tons of activities that are going on related to it. And, you're going to hear us keep talking about it because it's one of our big, strategic plan goals for our regional center as well. That being said, we did make a commitment to the Disability Housing Alliance folks that Rhonda, when she receives her training, because we are entering into a contract with the California Affordable Housing Agency to do trainings to regional centers statewide on affordable housing development. When Rhonda gets that training through ALTA, she's going to be bringing those trainings that she learns to our Disability Housing Alliance meetings as well. So that way, our community also gets an opportunity to benefit from this information. So again, as we do more and more of this housing development, we also want to bring in, clients and families and give them opportunities for feedback about what we should be developing in the future too. So I know Rhonda, on her long list of many things she's working on, is also ALTA's kind of strategic housing development plan, which we have not finished yet. We started working on it, and then COVID put a challenge with all of that. And so I know we had some provider advisory committee members that were interested in providing us feedback about that. So, all right, that's about all the housing you could probably deal with for one day. Let's see, Michelle Ramirez, how's that phone connection?
It's a little bit better now. I do apologize for that.
Perfect. It's perfect. All right, so let's throw it to CBIM.
Yeah, so thank you for letting us be highlighted today. I know there was a little bit of confusion because I know Lisa West had reached out and said to push it till November 14th. So we kind of just were kind of figuring out if we were going to go today or not. So thank you guys for coming back to us. So as you guys know, we are a short-term crisis prevention, and we do provide services to all of ALTA's regional consumers. With that being said, we do have a hotline where our hotline is offered to them for on the 24/7 basis. So at any given time, clients or their circles of support, such as adult residential facility admin staff, or even just community members, respite workers, anybody that is serving the client can call us and ask us for support on de-escalation techniques or whatever they may need. And in addition to that, the clients are also welcome, and we encourage them to call. When they go through our model design, we also develop a safety plan with them and teach them how to use the hotline. In addition to that, we use both modalities, mental health and traditional mental health and ABA, to stabilize and provide a comprehensive plan to stabilize their crisis. Right now we do have a little bit of a waiting period because we do have, our staff members are able to take on a caseload of anywhere from 8 to 10 clients. So we're at max capacity, but we are also able to triage and address any issues with clients that may be in an immediate crisis. Does anybody have any questions? Or John, any questions?
How long have you been working with Alta clients?
For about 3 years now. Yeah. However, that's just my experience. CBIM has been serving the Alta consumers for about 14, 12, 14. Yeah.
Yeah, about 14. And you guys work with how many different regional centers, do you think?
I want to say over 13, or we have 13 offices in California, and it may be about 10 different regional centers, because I know that some of the catchment areas for some of the other regional centers are very big. So we have multiple offices in those catchment areas.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, CBIM. Obviously, a very valuable partner of ours, and we just went through our AB 637, right, Jordan, to do the CBIM rate and switch it over to align it with the other regional centers, and that got approved, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. We were very excited that we got approved to switch from a monthly contract rate to the monthly median rate, right? So that has taken effect, and purchases of services have been updated and all those good things.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. And that's one of the changes too that I don't want to neglect to state, is that we do have the clients have the ability to contact us directly now versus contacting the front desk and then, having us call them back. So now they get access to us immediately.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
so much,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys.
All right. And we got our spotlight already lined up for next week too. Perfect. So other updates. Everyone's working remotely from the Sacramento office. As of right now, we have staff that are home again, and we are waiting to see where we will be at. I think right now we were looking at the 13th, but remains to be seen. We are still struggling with some property issues going on. We're not going to say the word today, folks, because I don't want to see people itching on camera. So we're still having some property issues there at the Harvard office, and poor Tom, I had to personally evacuate him out of his cubicle, much to his surprise. And so, anyways, that being said, hopefully we'll be back into our offices soon. But in the meantime, folks are working remotely fully. I did want to share with people, this is not related, but there are other jobs out there, and this has nothing to do with that. But but I did get this, and I'm going to put it in the chat. There is a opening, and this is a very important position. And so I told DDS that I would help them at least put the word out there for it. This is are you seeing DDS's website with Cal Careers Program Director? So Northern Star, thank you, Jason. Northern Star is hiring their program director position for their homes. This oversees both the Northern Star homes, which are the acute crisis homes that the state of California runs, as well as the CAST program, which is their assessment team that goes out to support clients. So just wanted to throw that out there. Dr. Backstrom, who I've worked with for many years, reached out to me about that, and I shared it with all the regional centers because it's in all of our best interest to have the absolutely best person possible running the show out there and with those services. So just wanted to throw that out there as well, that Northern Star has that vacancy. We had a vendor meeting last week for transportation, talking about the switch over to R&D transportation. And subsequent to that, we've got a number of our providers that have reached out to me, and we've talked, and we are kind of meeting on a individual basis with different providers to talk about any questions that they have as we transition to the utilization, of a broker for all our new referrals effective October 1st. And what came out during the discussion was that there seems to still be a number of providers that aren't familiar with the information about the rate study implementation and what the rate, and what that means. And so I just wanted to just real quickly remind folks where you can find Alta's information. There is no everything about the rate study that is known is on DDS's website. There is no, there's nothing separate that we are aware of that they haven't posted. So if you go to DDS's website and you can just, I'm just going to navigate from the main page. They have the rate study information right here on the front page in one of these boxes. And if you're looking for the specific rate models for Alta California Regional Center, you click on rate models and rates, and you click on Alta California Regional Center, and then you click on complete rate models. And the complete rate models will be here. Watch, this will open up. It'll tell you the last one I looked up. Look at that, transportation company. Starts on page 279, or well, 271 of the PDF. But again, this is where you get the breakdown specifically of the rate study, and then what the rate is that they have given for the different service codes. So I just want to make sure, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I just want to make sure folks were aware that that is available on DDS's website, and that you know where you can go look it up as it relates to the full implementation of the rate study. As of now, it looks like the full implementation of the rate study is going to coincide with the end of this fiscal year. As of September 8th, we still do not have any additional guidance from the Department of Developmental Services as it relates to transitioning some service codes over to other service codes. We don't have the final information about that yet. Additionally, we do not have the final information about the implementation of the HCBS reviews for this year either. We are still awaiting additional guidance from the Department of Developmental Services. As of right now, we believe that there is the time frame till the end of this fiscal year, which would be June 30th, for us to be able to complete the HCBS activities. But as of this date, we do not have any additional specific information from the department about what they are going to be asking of us. We have brought on another HCBS specialist. We have got some indicators that it is safe for us to bring on one more additional HCBS specialist because of the workload that we are going to be looking at taking on with these HCBS activities. So again, these are positions that ended up being approved through the California budget. They approved 50 positions statewide for HCBS monitoring. So again, there's so many service providers that we have. We have certainly not easily the opportunity to do quality assurance activities that we are required to do. And so having more HCBS specialists, I think, will certainly assist us in this area as we continue to grow larger and larger. Is there any questions about the rate study implementation or any HCBS stuff? Nope. Jordan, we have some CRDP stuff coming up soon, right?
Hold on, I'm having an issue here with my vision. There we go. You guys can hear me? We are. So fall is that time of year, right? That the regional centers reach out to our stakeholders to obtain their input on areas of need, right? Clients that might have unmet needs, areas that they think that we need to do more resource development for services. So I'm going to be meeting with my team on Monday to finalize the survey. We hope to send it out via MailChimp and to all of our stakeholders on either the 12th or the 13th at the latest. So you should be seeing that next week. And then next week at Coffee with Community Services, I can let you guys know the exact date that we are going to be holding the stakeholders meeting. I need to kind of connect with my team on Monday and make sure that we'll have enough time to analyze the data, right? Because we want to share it with you as soon as we can, but we want to make sure we have enough time to appropriately analyze the data that we receive. So next week, I'll have more updates about when we'll share the results of the survey and just more details about the survey. I can share it stuff next week.
Awesome. And so again, I know on kind of the wish list that I brought up was, ADU funding possibly, so that we can get, some affordable housing developed. I think that would be, a cool idea. I know we talked about FMSs and how, across our agency, we struggle with FMSs. And if there's a way where we can, increase our clients' opportunities to services by having another FMS in there. So I know that's another
Absolutely.
possible thing. I did send Jordan over another one yesterday, communication related as well,
Yes.
from a speech pathologist. So again, we'll see what we can put together. But after next week, when Jordan has the dates, we really hope that we are going to get good number of responses from folks.
Mhm.
Again, this is your opportunity to really impact the regional center as it comes to what we are developing with DDS startup funds, because we're not primarily moving people out of developmental centers anymore. We're using this money for individuals that are really in the community. So, alrighty, I think that's what we have for that. And I will ask Michelle Duchesne, or I think Helen had to log off. So Michelle, anything else that we missed?
No, not at this time.
All right, I know the Alta events calendar has an amazing number of things on them. I just want to share with folks, I know we've been announcing the CAC meet and greet that we were planning on having on Monday. We have gone ahead and or Tuesday, excuse me, we've gone ahead and we are going to postpone that. We had planned on doing it in person. I do see that it has not come off of our website, but it is still on our website, but that has been canceled. It's going to be postponed until we can ensure that we've got all the areas of our building completely accessible and safe for everyone. So other than that, I hope folks have a great weekend, and we will look forward to talking with folks more next week. Thank you again, CBEM, for the spotlight.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. Both Michelle for setting it up.
Right.
Bye, guys. Happy